SSP-TV and the Hazleton Standard Speaker present Good Sports with Dave and Ken.
Welcome to the Good Sports podcast and web series. I'm Ken Kara, SSP-TV Sports Director with Dave Seaman, Standard Speaker Sports Editor. Today we are covering the Schuylkill County Football Coaches Association, kind of a little preview, Dave, a little get-together before the season. All of the teams in our area, a lot of the teams, I forget how many teams I counted today, but there was a lot. We are at Fighters Heaven in Schuylkill County, Dave. Beautiful place. This is where Muhammad Ali used to train for some of his biggest fights here, Dave. This is just such a cool location. If you're watching us, you could see some of it. We did a story about it in the past. You could search on YouTube, SSP-TV, just look up Fighters Heaven. What a setting, Dave, and an example for all the players, the student athletes who are here today. And Coach Farr from Schuylkill Haven pointed that out as he was giving his opening remarks in the ring, actually, where Muhammad Ali used to train in that area. So number one, we have that going for us, Dave. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, he used that as an example, for the battle that our young athletes are, about to embark upon. We're getting ready for a football season, and every Friday night it's going to be a war, and it's coming fast and furious. It's coming right at us, a few weeks away, and I'll tell you what, it's a lot of excitement too. You see the excitement beaming. Everybody's predicting great things for their teams this year, and like I said, the excitement level is through the roof, through the trees where we are right now, and it's a pleasure to introduce these young men, or get introduced to some of these young men, and listen to some of them talk, because they're so well spoken. I mean, we've brought that up before. And to generate that enthusiasm for the season ahead.
And you can get excited for the season, of course, with this podcast, but Dave and the Standard Speaker staff, they're going to have football previews in the newspaper as well, correct, Dave, that people could read and check out? Yeah,
we'll be having our annual football tab comes out on the opening day of the season, which would be August 26th. So make sure you get a copy of the Standard Speaker to read that, because we'll have previews of our 10 local teams, info, a lot of neat information, some feature stories, and Steve Stallone and I are anxiously awaiting to put that together. And then throughout the season we'll have our game face. Every Friday during the football season we preview all the local games, and we generate one profile feature story on a local athlete, sometimes off the wall, sometimes interesting, sometimes we look back, sometimes we look ahead, but it's always something interesting, and it's a fun thing to do, a fun project, and again, generate enthusiasm for the readers ahead.
Yeah, it gets me pumped up on a Friday night. I check that out. A lot of really cool stuff. Let's start, Dave. How about with North Schuylkill? Had another successful season in Fountain Springs last year. They win the Schuylkill Colonial Red Division. They're the District 11 3A champions from last year. One regular season loss last year, Dave, to Pottsville, and that was a double overtime game. People might think it's easy for Coach Wally Hall and staff to keep turning out these teams, but it's a lot of hard work and a lot of dedication from the players and the coaching staff.
Yeah, and they've had an outstanding run of athletes there, and something we talked to Coach Hall about is how you have young athletes now too aspire to be the players ahead of them. They want to wear that Spartan jersey too, and when you have a program that's as outstanding as North Schuylkill's has been in recent years, you do have that that want to from the younger kids too, and that drive. It's always there, and that's a sign of an outstanding program, and North Schuylkill certainly has that.
All right, here's our interview with Coach Wally Hall. And Coach, you and Dave were getting caught up, and Dave, you were asking about Coach Hall's son, Jake, who had a heck of a career at North Schuylkill. Coach, I didn't get to ask you about that, but I got to talk to your son so many times. I mean, the academic accolades, what he was able to do on the field. Now that he's out of the program and that, how proud were you, though, of what he was able to accomplish?
Very proud. Sometimes, being the coach there with football and, everything in my role going on, you go through the game, you don't recognize any of that, and until the end. And something that we discussed about recently, and he said, what was your favorite game? I said, Jake, my favorite game watching you play, probably that I got enjoyed the most, was probably his freshman year in a district baseball game, because I'm in the fence, outside the fence, looking in there, and the cheers, the crowd, and the enjoyment, and taking it in. But no, I've taken a lot of it in, what he accomplished, and incredibly proud of him.
Coach, going back to last season, another successful year at North Schuylkill, staying focused. But looking back and now moving forward, if you just talk about last season briefly and then talk about kind of the squad this year.
Yeah, last year, past 2 years were really good runs. Leading up to those 2 years too, we're in a similar situation. Everybody says, well, you got to replace this person, this person, this person. Great football players, Jalen Leiba, we had Jake Green, Tyler Elsden. There's so many guys, to name, and then you get to a situation, well, how do you replace those guys? And that's the thing that comes to it. We're very consistent in what we're doing in the program, and now it's other individuals' turn to play those roles that those guys played in previously.
Dave?
Well, you talked about, guys stepping into roles, and, it's always good to have role models in your program, too. And you have guys when they're in, elementary school and they're aspiring to be those next guys. And how rewarding is that as a coach to see that as a program, to have next man up mentality and see that come to fruition?
It's very rewarding, and so many people have a part in that. Our coaches, our school districts, the parents, importantly, holds them to those expectations. You talk about commitment, like our summer workouts. We have a roster of 54 kids. Summer workouts, there's 54 kids. Everybody's there, so they're starting to hold that standard. They know the expectation. It's great with the junior and senior classes. You have the younger guys coming in, or those freshmen that are now sophomores. They talk about how to get it done, and it starts with work. What you put in is what you're most likely you're going to get out of it.
Right, you talk about Jake too, and the numbers that he put up last year. But who are you looking to replace him this?
Trevor Manalda, he's a junior. He's done a super job, leading right up into the heat acclimatization period. As a freshman coming in, a sophomore coming in, it's all about development, and he's done a great job of that. Leading up to this point, he's working really hard. He's improved in so many areas a quarterback needs to improve, and particularly leadership part. He's got to be a leader. He's a quarterback. We expect him to be a leader, but he's also surrounded with a really strong cast.
Coach, I had the pleasure of talking with Jackson Chwansky last year. I talked with him and his brother, and also Jake. And I didn't. All related? Is that cousins or is there?
Yes, they're cousins.
Okay, I do stories at North Schuylkill, and more often than not, they're like, "Oh yeah, I didn't know we were all related," and that ended up being a cool part of that story. Jackson's back this year. Just talk about him and how he's been able to develop.
Yeah, Jackson's back. He's coming off a shoulder surgery. I'm sure everybody knows that there's nothing to hide there, but he's progressing very well. Strong kid, great leader, tremendous football player. When you talk about the defensive side of the football, he has that gift of strength, but his instincts are incredible. And that's what makes him such a special defensive football player. Sometimes that's a hard spot to teach, a hard thing to teach a player. But when you flip it on the other side offensively, he is also very productive running the football.
That Schuylkill Colonial, how is that going? And I look at the schedule you were talking about. It's tough again. Dave said, how's the schedule looking? He said, hey, it's tough again. Just how is that? We used to talk about how tough the Schuylkill League is. It seems to be another level now.
Yeah. I looked at leagues, and, I don't know what year this is. 10 years at North Schuylkill and 2 other places. Previously, I was a head football coach. Your schedule is your schedule. It's not much that we talk about our schedule. Obviously there's our conversations with our athletic director and how our schedule is. As a team, we talk about our opponent, and that's what we look at week to week. We're really focused on our opponent.
Your lines always seem to be, a pride of the program. They seem to make things really go. Lines looking good again this year.
Yeah, that's offensively. We return linemen, so that's always a plus. You get to see. Brought 4 captains today. Three of them are offensive linemen and defensive linemen too. So we return a big piece of that, and that's a great place to start on both sides of the football.
Coach, everyone's getting packed up here. I'll let Dave ask his final questions and that too, but I had one more as well. We were coming down here today, and Dave said, let's talk about Penn State football. And I said, let's talk about Tyler Elsden. I'm so excited. How thrilling is that, looking at how he's been able to progress in his career? Now people are talking about him possibly being a starting linebacker at Penn State.
Yeah. Not surprised. That's what kind of individual Tyler is. That's what kind of player he is. That's what kind of person he is. There's just so much that goes into it to be successful at that level. And Tyler's that guy. Tremendous worker, great guy in the locker room. Great guy in public, so he has a total package, and to play at that level, such a high level, that's what it takes. You got to be really focused on what you have to do, because everybody knows on that roster, everybody's good. So yeah, very proud of Tyler.
Dave, anything else for the coach? Go.
That's a question I always end my preseason interviews with, is basically a finish the sentence kind of thing. It will be a successful season for North Schuylkill if.
player-led leadership.
Nice and easy. That's simple, Coach. Hey, how proud are you, too? A lot of times I tell people, they say, oh, you cover North Schuylkill football, and you got to talk to Tyler Elsden and Jaden Leiby and Jay Call, and then I tell them how good of guys they are. Not that people don't believe you, but sometimes they say, how proud are you when you see the young man like a Tyler Elsden and that? I mean, you just read his interviews, and from meeting them, they're impressive young men.
Yeah, and we talk about that. I mean, that's growing and developing. We're not there just as football coaches. We're growing and developing young men, and that's what we want them to eventually be is good people and contribute as much as they can and whatever they may do. So that's a big piece of the puzzle for us in our program, my program.
Next up, we're going to talk about the Shenandoah Valley Blue Devils. Dave, in all the years I've interviewed Coach Stan DeCoste from Marian, I don't think I knew he was from Shenandoah. I didn't know that about him, so that's something that I learned today. Very, very proud of that as well. But this year's Shenandoah Valley football team, coached by Ed Moran, second year with head coach Moran, right, Dave? And third year. So they're moving along and getting some more consistency there within the program. They're starting to find some success there too, Dave.
Yeah, they did have some success last year. Last year they had a big win against Marian. In a team both desperate for a win. And with the Blue Devils last year, they had an outstanding three-sport athlete, known Kozar as the quarterback last year, and one of his top receivers was Joey Vivacis, too, another multi-sport athlete. And and it was just a great group of athletes. The senior athletes at Shenandoah, they had success. Not only some in football, but then basketball. They won a district championship, and baseball they competed for the division title in the Schuylkill League. And those guys are going to be missed. But Shenandoah Valley bounced back. Coach Marian, like I said, has done a great job, keeping the kids interested in that program. And again, goes back to the word enthusiasm. The kids are as enthusiastic as anybody, and they want to build off what they started last season.
Yeah, and that's what the kids really talked about. We talked with 4 of the players, and a big theme that they throughout the whole time was about building that program, the excitement around the program. They got new equipment, they got new jerseys. The kids are excited, the players are excited. Let's hear from some of them. 2 members of the Shenandoah Valley football team are with me right now. I have Nick Ryan, he's a junior wide receiver and free safety, and Lucas Zielinski, who's a senior right guard and defensive tackle. Let's start up front, Lucas. I mean, how are the Lions doing? That's usually where people, even me who has zero football experience, I know you have to start up front. So how's everything going on both lines this year?
Well, this year for the line, it's really good. We have all of our starters coming back. Not most teams this year don't have all their line coming back because either they graduated or they just don't have all their starting line coming back. So that's a plus that's an advantage that we have this year.
How do you guys communicate out there on the line? I was always curious to this. But when you're out there actually in the game, I know you have the huddle and that. You get out there on the line. How you guys talk? Is it through that experience of maybe just knowing each other that why that really helps?
Yeah, it does help. Because sometimes most teams it would be me, you, but we'll have a special name for
everybody.
Yeah, for everyone.
Do you have a special name that you could share? Or no, is this an offensive line thing? It stays within the offensive line.
It's an offensive line thing right now.
I got you. Nick, what's kind of that you're talking to a lot of the media today? What's kind of the sales pitch with Shenandoah Valley? As you're going to all the media, how are you kind of summing it up to them? How are you explaining the team to them?
I really think we're going to be a lot better team than last year. We're going to have a lot better run game than we do this year. Not as good passing, but the run game is always going to be there for us.
Yeah.
Again, the linemen. All 4 of them back, that's always a plus.
Oh, yeah, you guys had Owen Kozar, a quarterback, so those are big shoes to fill. For you last year, wide receiver, right? And I have a bunch of your statistics here. You could correct me if I'm wrong, but I had 34 receptions for over 500 yards. Yeah. Talk about last season. You're a sophomore, just jumping into that role. Did you play a freshman year as well?
I got hurt my freshman year, about the 4th game. I was out for the rest of the season. So going into my sophomore year and having a good season like that, it really feels good. How
do you build on that then? What did you learn and what do you think you could kind of apply? How are you trying to improve this season?
I don't really know how to answer that one.
Yeah. Just kind of the same player, maybe stay consistent.
Yeah, stay consistent, exactly, yeah.
Nice. He said he thinks the running game is going to be much better. You obviously mentioned the offensive line. Tell me why you think it. Who's your running back? Who do you guys have running?
I believe it's either going to be Teeter or Aaron Nickerson right now.
Okay.
But I feel like with us coming back, we're all experienced. We know the playbook, so we'll know what to do, where to go and all that, and we'll be able to create holes for our running backs.
You're a senior. You've kind of seen the program moving in I would say, you could tell me as well, a positive direction. How have you seen it really build the past few years?
My freshman year, we had a good weight room equipment, and then towards the end of my freshman year, Keating retired. He was a really good coach, but then Coach Moran got the job, and then we started getting more equipment. We got all new speed flexes. We got the guardian caps for our helmets to help protect us from concussions, and we also got all new jerseys. So that's some new stuff that we got.
Yeah, they're looking nice. I like the new jerseys and that. How much does that mean within a football program when you start to see these things? Does that mean a lot to the guys? I mean, does that really make a difference?
It really does make a big difference because, like, when Keaton was here, we always had the old jerseys that were, how old? Like, many years. But getting new jerseys really does, like, I don't know, it's kind of like a confidence booster, you know what I mean?
Yeah. You look good, you play good as well. So, Lucas, tell me about you a little bit off the field. What are you doing besides football?
I'm a Boy Scout, and I do that on the side. I just got done working on my Eagle Scout project, so now I just got to submit the paperwork for that, and then it'll go from there, and they'll either accept it or deny it.
Nice.
And then right now I'm also talking to a recruiter for the Marines. I'm thinking about going to the Marines.
That's incredible. Very cool. What made you want to do that? I mean, to join the Marines?
Everyone in my family.
Was it, family?
Well, my dad's grandfather, he served in World War II, and then my pap, he went from the Army and the Navy, and my cousin, he was also in the Air Force. So they have some military background in my family, and I don't know. I think the Marines would be like a challenge because I like challenges.
That's interesting. And how about can you tell me what your Eagle Scout project is?
It was actually for the Shenandoah Little League field.
Okay.
I fixed up their dugout because it was started to rot on the one side.
Nice.
And eventually, once we took everything off, we found out that a piece of the wood, like all in the back where you couldn't see it, it was rotted out. So we fixed that up, and I built 2 12-foot benches for the players.
That's amazing. I would be so happy if you were on my line. I'd be like, this guy, he knows how to build things, he knows how to fix things. How about you, away from football? What are you doing?
Sometimes I golf here and there. I like to lift, but other than that, just football.
Nice.
Football is my thing, yeah.
I'm not rushing you guys out of here, but we have 2 other of your teammates who we want to bring on as well. So thank you so much. Let's learn more about Shenandoah Valley. 2 more Blue Devils join me now. We have Zachary Slater. He's a senior wide receiver and outside linebacker, and also Kelvin Cordero, who's playing left guard and linebacker. You're a junior. What are you most proud of from last season? When you look at last season, what are you most proud of? Maybe personally or as a team?
Like, as a team, like, I'm most proud of how, like, we improved and grew up and grew better, and, like, how we were able to compete in a lot more games. Like, my freshman year, we were not able to compete in a lot of games. We basically kind of got blown out a lot, and last year we made a lot of improvements there as a team and a family.
Yeah, what impressed you? Maybe as you looked at the team at the end of the season, did you see like just more confidence? What was the team like from the beginning of the year to the end of the year?
I feel like in the beginning of the year, we all got used to all the new coaches. We still didn't have good chemistry. Then by the end of the year, all of us knew how to work together. We all knew how to practice and like work together. We all had the chemistry, and we became more confident while the year was going.
What is the Shenandoah style of football now? How would you describe it?
Oh, I would describe like the Shenandoah style of football is play hard and work together and do everything that you could to benefit the team and stuff. That's why I would describe the Shenandoah style of football. Play as as a group, not as an individual.
And so let's talk about away from the field. What are you doing away from the field? We talked a lot about golfing, fishing. What are you doing away from the field?
Well, when I'm not on the field, I work at my dad's store. I help him a lot. I try to help them, so like that it's easier. Then I sometimes go out with my friends somewhere, sometimes to play pool or play football.
How good of a pool player are you?
I'd say I'm decent at the game. Yeah. Most of the times I beat all my friends,
right,
so
I'd
say I'm
pretty
decent.
good. And what kind of stores does your dad have?
My dad has like a normal like bodega.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Cool. So what are you doing there? What are your like responsibilities? Just like stocking, anything at all?
Yeah, mostly anything, but most of the times I'm the one that runs the cashier.
Okay.
I'm mostly the cashier most of the times, and I help then if I have to. I help with like the stocking and cleaning.
Nice. How's your math skills?
Good.
Good. All right, mine. I was never allowed behind the cash register. My family had a store, and they were like, keep the kid away from there. How about you, away from football? What do you do?
Away from football, I like to like relax and like chill with like friends, like probably play basketball or like work on like outside of football, like work on my footwork or whatever, do more stuff, just get improved, just to get better at my craft and like do everything better.
Excellent. Guys, thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it. There's a lot of stuff going on here today, so I appreciate you taking time out and talking with us. Thank you so much. All right, next up we have the Tamaqua area Blue Raiders. And Dave, an up and down season for Tamaqua. Getting into the District 11 AAA playoffs, had to forfeit that first round game. There was a lot going on around the program. The players I talked with hit a little bit on that, saying, in the offseason, just getting everyone together, getting on the same page and moving on and moving the program forward was a theme. But there is a lot of talent talent in this Tamaqua program, and they're ready to really excel this season.
Yeah, especially in the backfield. There's a lot of talent coming back in the backfield. Some of their backs last year had outstanding games last year. Warren Stewart had an outstanding season last year. I did manage to talk to Coach Bonner, Sam Bonner, during the media day this year, and he said they've worked really hard in the off season. They had a lot of they counted how many workouts they had. He said 102. That's as many as he's had throughout the season. A lot of that, they played, they practiced and prepared, with a chip on their shoulder, how their season ended last year. And he said they're ready to get back to battle, and he likes their skilled people, working with the backfield that they have coming back. And it'll be dependent upon, how their line performs. If their line can open holes for some of their backs, they're going to put up a lot of yards and a lot of points.
One of the players we talked with, Dave, is in the backfield. You mentioned him already, Warren Stewart. Let's go to that interview right now. With two Tamaqua area athletes right now, Warren Stewart and also Isaac Kirby. Isaac, you're a senior playing fullback and middle linebacker. And Warren, you said you're playing running back and linebacker, both seniors. Give me the pitch. I mean, you guys are probably talking to a lot of media today. Isaac, I'll start with you. As people are asking, hey, how's Tamaqua? How's 2022? What are you trying to tell them, and what do you want people to know about you guys?
I just want them to know that we're trying our hardest, just getting back into the swing of things. Obviously, we didn't have the greatest of year last year, and it's been kind of rough coming up from that state-run team. But we've just been working on our strengths, obviously our weaknesses too, and, just trying to improve overall as a team.
Warren, as senior leaders, when you look at that and you say, okay, last year maybe didn't go how we wanted it, how are you trying to get the younger guys? What's it been like being a senior? And do you feel like that position, like, hey, I'm one of the leaders on this team?
Yeah, play together, stay together, and work hard all together, and all have, the same mentality.
Do you feel like you guys have bonded? You've been through some tough times and that. Do you feel like as a team you guys are close to? How do you feel you guys have come together? Are you still working on that?
Oh, I feel like we're strong as can be, Like, we've all worked together in the off season. We get a lot of people going. We all connect through the whole time.
I have a note here. There's a very limited, I'm looking up high school stats in that. Warren, you popped up over 1,000 yards. It has in my notes with receiving, kick returns, and running last year. What was last season like for you? Did you feel like, okay, it was kind of successful individually? How did you feel you did?
I feel I did good, Obviously, could have did better, but, it's whatever. I did what I could do, and working to get better.
What are you working on? What do you think you got to improve on?
Following my blocks, staying healthy.
How do you do that? Just strengthening up a little bit?
Yep. All the work in the off season, getting stronger, bigger, it all helped.
When you say following blocks, like I would get out there and just be crazy, is it just sometimes you just want to make a move really quick? Is it maybe being a little bit more patient?
Yeah, I got to be more patient, let things to develop and open up more.
Isaac, how about for you last season? How do you feel it went for you, and how do you feel you're trying to change and develop this year?
I actually did not play last season, but I did start as an outside linebacker and a tight end my sophomore year.
Okay.
And I just want to work on, because I was heavily undersized my sophomore year, and I've obviously bulked up, gotten a lot stronger. So I'm playing in a more important position, and just try my best to protect Warren and, just do my job the best of my ability.
How much bigger are you than sophomore year? Much bigger?
Yeah, sophomore year I was like 5'8", 150. Now I'm like 5'11", 200 pounds, so big jump.
If you could tell your sophomore self something about football or life, what do you think you would go back and say?
I would say just stick with it, obviously things get tough. There's always going to be someone bigger than you, maybe that they could play the position better than you, but, you just have to work with what you got and, make the most of it.
What's important for you guys day one? What do you think is going to be critical if you're going to have success this year? Tamaqua has to do this.
We all got to be on the same note.
Yeah.
We all got to work together, and we got to stick with it. We just can't give up too early.
It's a tough division, but it seems like you guys have talent. Like, are you excited about? It seems like there's a lot of talent there.
Yeah, I'm excited for this year. A lot of new people, a lot of old people. We're all just ready to play.
Nice. Who's a younger guy who's coming up who you've been impressed with? Anybody?
Jacob Hayne, Luke Fraunheiser.
What about Jacob? What really stuck out when you?
Oh, he's fearless. He's always ready to hit.
Yeah. What position does he play?
DN. He plays some tailback, He play anywhere, really.
Nice. And who did you say? You jumped in immediately.
I said Luke Fraunheiser. He's almost someone that could go anywhere else too. He could play linebacker. He could play, sometimes we have him in our power I. And also he could be a fullback too. So he's just like our all-around guy. And, you know, he's been showing up and he's really well-rounded.
Away from the football field, Warren, what are you doing? I mean, is it always football? Are you interested in other things? What away from football, what do you like? What are you doing?
I'm like always sleeping.
A lot of rest.
Like, you know, I go fishing.
Yeah.
Gotta catch some fish, man.
Can you share where you go fishing, or do you have your spot that like
you can't ask him, man.
Is that a thing?
That's like asking a woman her weight, man.
So do you also go fishing, or no? You just know that in general.
I mean, I've went fishing with him when we were down at Myrtle Beach. I mean, I love fishing too, but in the off season, I do kickboxing, boxing down in Extreme Fitness at St. Clair.
Nice. What's your best fishing story? You can't share with me where you're going, but do you have a good like, hey, I caught this. You wouldn't believe I caught this in Tamaqua or somewhere.
About like not that far from here.
Yeah.
In a pond, caught like this. It was like almost a 30-pound catfish.
No kidding.
Yeah, no kidding.
How much work was that? I mean, did all that football lifting pay off bringing that thing in?
Oh my God, yeah. It was like the pole was just there, and then it almost went in the water.
Yeah.
The tip hit the ground, and I was on, hooked it. That fish was mine.
How proud are you of that? Now, you had a bunch of touchdowns last year. You more proud of the catfish or those touchdowns? Both equal.
Both.
That's really cool. Well, guys, thank you so much. It's a busy day, so I appreciate the time and you both coming over here and sharing. Senior year for both of you, right?
Yep.
Do you know what you want to do? Like, you have college plans or something else? Do you know eventually, or is that so far in the future?
Not sure yet.
Okay. How about you guys?
I'm probably gonna go for sports science because I mean, I did all of this by myself. I didn't have any coaching. I did like all the research, dieting, everything to build my body the way it is right now. So, I mean, if I could do that, you know, have a passion and, you know, just know a lot in that field, I feel like I could, you know, make a living off of that and be good there.
That's really cool. Gentlemen, again, thank you so much. I really appreciate your time. Enjoy the rest of the day here. But pretty cool. Like at Muhammad, have you ever been here before?
No.
No?
Never.
This place is really neat. A lot of history. I don't know if there's any ponds or anything around here. But guys, again, appreciate it. Good luck this season at Tamaqua area.
Thank you for having us.
It's halftime on the Good Sports podcast and web series, and we just wanted to let you know we're brought to you by the Lehigh Valley Health Network. Next up, as we go through our Schuylkill League preview, Dave, is Marian Catholic. Stan DeCoste. Dave, what a story Marian is. I mean, you talk about Coach DeCoste after many years there, a lot of success, retiring, and then the football program getting into some trouble. They had some trouble with numbers, just filling out the roster. Coach DeCoste comes back, and all of a sudden the Marian Colts are trending in the right direction once again. So he's, once again, for the second time in his career, an outstanding job of establishing Marian football.
Yeah, and it's taken a lot of patience, too. That's something that, you know, you never expected from Marian. They just used to reload every year. You expected Marian to be on the cusp of a playoff berth or advancing to the playoffs and sometimes even deep into the state playoffs, winning a state championship in 1990. And Coach DeCoste's been there the whole time. I thought he had a very interesting answer about patience and, you know, something that you basically had to learn, too, and teach the kids that have been with the program. When he came back to the program, he said there are a number of players who never even played the game of football before. So you have to start from scratch, and that does require a lot of patience. He said, and then he used a stronger word. He said, that might not be the right word, it might be frustration. So to see those kids, you know, battle through that, and then show some signs of life. And the first half of last season, even, it was horrible. I mean, you can't hide from that fact. It was I believe they're outscored like 216-28 or something in their first 5 games. But then they get an overtime win over Nativity. Kind of turned their season around. It starts a 4-game winning streak. It generates a lot of momentum for the offseason. You talk about off-season programs. Marian had an outstanding off-season program, according to Coach DeCoste, and they carried that momentum into the preseason workouts. And I don't know. I mean, teams are excited about the season ahead, but I judging from the people I've talked to, there aren't many teams as excited as the Marian Colts are this season, and Coach DeCoste. And then, you know, he's been a pillar, you know, not only in our area or in the Cole region, statewide. His reputation is excellent across the state, he's developed good teams, and I think he's on the verge of building something again at Marian, because now that the kids have built in, they've learned from losing, and they're on the right track, obviously.
And if you're not excited about Marian football, Coach DeCoste will get you there. Just listen to him talk about his program and some of the players this season. Very happy to have Marian's head football coach with us now, Stan DeCoste. And Coach, I saw you were walking around a little bit, maybe taking a little tour here. Have you been to Fighters Heaven before? Is this your first time?
No,
or?
I really grew up in Shenandoah, right down the road.
Did you? Yeah.
Now maybe I could say I was in Fighters Heaven. You never know, but it's Shenandoah, right? That's. No, I love the whole town, but no, it's just close, and it's really neat. It's really neat being here. The history, the tradition here. I thought it was a great place to bring our kids down.
Coach, talk some football now. A strong finish to the season, it seemed, for you, for the team last year. What was your kind of evaluation of how things went last year and how you closed out, and what you're looking at this year?
We were so close from the start of the season through the end of the season. Much self-inflicted errors and things along the outline. All due respect to our opponents who were better than us. But when we finally put it together and got a big win, and our kids saw what they could do when we eliminate mistakes and the like, we won our last 4 games. We've had a great off season. We have 37 kids, but we only have 4 seniors and 4 outstanding seniors. The off-season program, we're bigger, we're faster, but I think most importantly, we built chemistry in the off-season. So we're excited about it. We're probably as excited about this season as we've been in a long time. And I'm talking about our fan base, the school, the players themselves. Now, there's no guarantees here. Look at the schedule. There's no guarantees. But I think we're in a good place, and we're going to be competitive. And if we keep improving the way I think we will, because, again, we have 33 underclassmen, so there's still a growth area there yet with those young guys. I think we could be a team that's going to give people, going to give them a run at the ball game. We're not just to show up. We're going to be there to play well.
You said self-inflicted early on. Was that kind of what it was about last year? Maybe more discipline in practice and that, waiting for the guys to kind of learn that as you worked on it?
One game we had 10 fumbles.
Yeah.
You could play the Muhammad Ali knee-high team, and you're not going to win with 10 fumbles. Another game we rushed for 300 yards, at 17 first downs and scored 7 points. It's almost physically impossible to do that, but between penalties and things. And it wasn't that our kids were trying to, it's just that we were not at the point where we were able to play at the level we should. And now I think just from watching our practice in preseason, we're much more mature. We're much more aware of what we're doing as far as offense and defense goes. So now as coaches, we've got to take our kids. Our motto is the next step. We got to take the next step in the program and winning season, hopefully, and hopefully beyond that. But all we worry about now is Schuylkill Haven and let everything else take care of itself when that week comes.
You had a lot of kids who maybe didn't have experience or who, learning the game. Has there been someone that really defined Marian football who you've seen really buy in? May not be a superstar, but someone who you've seen really come along since they first maybe started the sport.
Well, I'll probably answer some of you almost the superstar realm. He plays, I think I will. Raul Melendez has only played football for 2 years. Yeah. He came to Marian, I think he only played in 7th grade, and he only played a little bit. He is now a recruitable athlete. I give credit to my coaches, the program, the way we believe in developing kids. Now you look at him, where he came from, and I could probably point 10 or 12 other kids who were in that same mix. We played Jim Thorpe the first game I was back. There was no way we should have been on that field. That schedule was changed because of COVID, and we had literally, I think, 6 or 7 kids who had never been on a football field, let alone a varsity football field. So we took our lumps that first year. We got a little better last year. The kids didn't leave. We have 37 by choice. We have a culture that you fit into our culture, you're going to be with us. And they bought into the program. They bought into our culture. And I think that development, they've seen how they've developed, the underclassmen have seen that. And it becomes an incentive now. If this guy's worked that hard and could do this, our weight program with Coach Hackenberg, Coach O'Gorick, second to none. I had a coaching friend come by the other day, and he saw us last year, and he came walking out. He said, "Coach, you got some good-looking kids out there." I said, "Well, thank you. That's the nice thing anybody said to me the last couple of years." What I mean? That hasn't been said all that often, and because they're older now. They're older, they're bigger, and we have the 2 Ordino brothers who basically are going to be, I think, real solid prospects playing that way. Michael Gelatko, I think, is one of the top underclassmen in the state of Pennsylvania. He's 6'3", about 220 tight end, free safety. And so we've got kids now coming through the program. We've got recruiters contacting us again, asking about our players, asking about this and that. So we're getting back on track where we were. I got to thank my quarterback club, and I really have to thank my former players. My former players have been incredible with their support in so many ways for the program to help us get this thing going and doing it in a first-class way, and I think our kids really appreciate that.
The player you mentioned when I asked that question, what position does he play?
He's an offensive lineman, defensive lineman, 6'3" and a half, about 276 pounds. And as he's just an impressive-looking young man. He's a real solid young man. He represents so many players in our program, I guess is the way to put it.
David?
To go through what your program has gone through the last few years requires a lot of patience. How hard is it to teach patience? Is it something that, some kids run away from, when things get tough anymore, they run away from things. Is that a trait that you can teach, or is that just something you have to learn and you have to have a little intestinal fortitude to withstand that?
Well, that's a great question. Most of my staff, I guess about all my staff now, played for me. And that first year, I was a different coach than I ever was because it was a different atmosphere. We had to make sure these kids could walk before they could run. So we had to kind of like lower, I won't say lower, but had to gear down a little bit. And then last year we came in, okay, we had 1 year in. Now we could push this a little bit more, this a little bit more. And we saw some improvement there. But patience is really probably not a strong enough word. I would say there was frustration at times. But to me, there was always a light at the end of the tunnel. Like if we had 16 seniors now and 13 underclassmen, I'd be like, but we have 4 seniors and 33 underclassmen. So if we have a solid year this year, we've got most of our team coming back, so we're at the point now where we're starting to generate, hopefully, we have to try to generate some kind of momentum. But that was a very interesting year. I volunteered for 3 years at Colgate with the offensive line and really enjoyed it and came back and I love this program. I love my school. And I want to be successful because football is such an important part of Marian High School. But I realized in my mind, I never said this, but I thought it'd be a 3 or 4 year situation. I talked to my wife about it. She's a saint because she's been hanging with me with this. But so we're our 3rd year now. And now this is when we hope we can. If we stay healthy, I think we're going to be a football team that's going to be very competitive.
Coach, what have you learned from doing this? I'm sure sometimes in life we think about the stories we're writing and you think, and personally I'm saying that, but like I had this great coaching career and we built this up here at this program and now, if I put it aside and then to say a curveball comes and says, all right, I'm back in there. What has this experience been like for you?
One of the first comments I got from some of my colleagues when I first came back is, why are you doing this? And including some family members actually, but I knew the school. We actually recruited the school my first year, like kids who never played. Julian Cirillo was our quarterback, never played football, and these guys came out as a leap of faith, and we got hammered game after game, but they hung in there. And then we came back with our numbers began to get a little stronger, and our kids were with us, and now we had some success, and now our numbers are really solid. And we could have 45, 46 kids if we chose, but we have the guys we want right now, and they're doing the things in the classroom. They're doing the things in the community, and they're doing things on the playing field. And believe me, we stress that. You're going to do things a certain way in our program. We're not going to change. You're going to be groomed a certain way. You're going to act a certain way in school. There's language that's not acceptable on the field. No matter where you have it, it's not going to be acceptable here. There's going to be consequences. And what we're trying to do is, and it may sound corny, but turn out good young men. You see Paul Babinski. You see Bill O'Gorick. You see Tom McCarroll. I'm not saying that's because of us, but they came through the program, and you can see the kind of people we've turned out. Just look at those guys right there, and that's what we're looking for. These younger guys here, where they're starting to see these guys. Our players, they drop in all the time. They call and stay in touch with our guys, and I think they know that they're not doing this by themselves. There's people supporting them and wishing them nothing but the best and trying to help any way they can.
You look at last year's start, obviously it wasn't the way you wanted to go. First 5 games were, a lot of blowout losses, but when you get past that, that first five games, you're not even looking, like you said, you're looking at your first game this year. How big is a strong start this year?
That's a great question. As a coach, I think any coach will tell you this. You want to put a lot of importance on it, but not everything. Because God forbid I would say this way from our end, anyway, not from Haven's end, if we happen to lose again, that's not the end of our season. It's we still have 9 more games, so you've got to have that that balance there. Even my son like he's playing Stanford first. That's a big lift for him. Okay, that's going to dictate his season though. He's got the Patriot League coming, and this is as big a game as we're going to play that weekend. It may sound kind of crazy, but have we been talking about it all summer? Yeah, because it's our first game. If that was Sayre, we've been talking about Sayre all summer because that's our first game. But we're also telling you, I say to them all the time, what if Schuylkill Haven takes back the opening kickoff? What are we going to do? We're going to get out and play, coach. You know what I mean? So that's a great question, though. I mean, from a coaching standpoint, it's that fine line there. Fine line. If you win it, doesn't mean all it guarantees is we're 1-9. And if we lose it, we still have a chance to be 9-1. So we try to balance it that way.
And Coach is saying, don't panic if Penn State loses to Purdue week 1, Dave. Just stay calm, all right?
Yeah, keep an eye on that one, yep.
Coach, thank you so much. Anything else for Coach before we get him out of here?
No, I think Coach has the program, and it's always been a pleasure watching his team coach. And
let me just say this. I want to thank you guys for all you do for high school sports, at the paper, at the station, things on that line. You're always welcome, Marian High School.
Thank you. We appreciate everybody out there. Get there. That Mid-Marian Stand, that's one of the venues. For high school football, you want to go there. Check it out. Absolutely, Coach. Thank you so much. Dave, another team with a lot of excitement around them, a lot of players coming back. Mahanoy area after a 4-7 season last year, but again, they're bringing back a lot of talent. Ben Manley, he's a senior. Cole McGrody is going to be a junior. They're both back. They had big seasons. I talked with one of their offensive and defensive linemen. So did you, and they seem ready to make a big impact this season.
I think that's the big thing is that their offensive line. 4 of their starters have played 3 years. They've been 3-year starters. Now there aren't many high school teams, let alone a small Class A school, that has 4 3-year starters on the offensive line, and these are good players too. David Sanchez, if you saw him, he looked like a college player today with his size, and they're ready to make amends. They thought they'd be better last season. Another team that stumbled coming out of the gate, shut out in their first 3 games, but then the Bears battled back a little bit. Showed some signs of life at the end, and they're another team playing with a chip on their shoulder. Listen to Ben Manley. If you want to hear him speak, you want him on your football team. I believe he led the region in tackles last year from his linebacker position. He's a top-notch running back as well, a stand-up young man, and there's enthusiasm at Mahanoy as well.
Yeah, Dave, they were 3-2 in league games last year. Again, not the season they wanted, but the talent is definitely there. And I did speak with Ben Manley and also David Sanchez on the lines. With 2 Mahanoy area players now, both seniors, David Sanchez is on both lines playing tackle, offensive and defensive, and then we have Ben Manley playing quarterback and also linebacker. Guys, thank you so much. Were you done eating in there? I was kind of like hawking around. You guys were able to get through your food, though?
Yeah, we were pretty full, yeah.
How was it? I just got to see it. I did. What was the best thing you had today?
The mac and cheese is really good.
Really? Okay, over the barbecue and everything. The mac and cheese was number 1.
That was like the best I ever had.
No kidding. Yeah. Oh, man, we might have to stop this interview. I might have to go in there. Ben, how about you? What was the best thing you had in there today?
I think the mac and cheese as well.
So what's the story? Mahanoy area football, you're talking to a lot of the media today. What's kind of like the elevator pitch that you guys are talking about this 2022 group?
I mean, it's mostly we're all returning for mostly 3 years. A lot of us have been starting in varsity football, so we have a lot of experience this year, and we have basically our whole team back from last year. We only had 2 seniors, so we're planning on having a real big season this year.
David, what did you learn kind of going through last season, and what did you guys kind of pick up? Go 4-7 last year. What did you kind of learn last year?
So last year, we were kind of like the underdog still. We had the younger team, but after this year, like we're all seniors, juniors, we're all like older, so we can't really use that as an excuse. This is like our year really to break out.
What did you see last year, Ben, that you really liked? You look at it and you say, hey, this really worked last year. We could carry this over. And what's something you say, we're going to improve on this?
I think our defense played really well last year. I think we held a lot of teams to very low scores throughout the season. And I think this year we need to get our offense moving a little bit better. And I think if we do that, we'll definitely be rolling over teams.
So up front, tell me about both of your lines. Let's start on the offensive line. How are you guys looking? How do you feel you're doing as a unit?
Offensively, yeah, I think our line's really good. Most of us have been starting since we were sophomores or freshmen even, so we have a really experienced line, and we didn't lose anyone either last year, so we should be really good this year on the line.
Tell me about defensively. Same kind of thing, same story?
Yeah, basically the same thing. We're still like looking around for a DN, but we have a couple kids in there ready to fill in.
Tell me about you as a player. I mean, how do you see yourself? If you had to describe yourself a little bit, how do you see yourself as a player on the line? Is it powerful, fast, all of the above?
Definitely more powerful, but like unexpectedly, yeah, I'm like faster than like you'd think. So Yeah.
Do people underestimate that sometimes? Maybe like see your size in that and think, all right, and then boom, you kind of have them.
Oh yeah, definitely.
How do you work on that? How do you improve speed?
I feel like I've always been like surprisingly fast, but I like do like speed training and stuff. I used to like go run around, throw balls with like Ben and Colm, so that definitely helps.
How nice is it having David in front of you blocking? I mean, how sweet is that?
Oh, it's awesome especially when he's pulling around the end and you see him knock the D end out. It's easy to run behind a big guy like him.
What's the most impressive thing you've seen him done? Can you think of something or no? I mean, even in practice or
I distinctly remember our freshman year. We were playing Minersville, I believe, and he pulled around the end, and he was only a freshman, and I just remember him taking the D end out. It was a real big hit.
There's a few things in this world I know I can't do. I'm terrible at math. I can't be an engineer. I also know I could never be the quarterback for a Mahanoy area football team. There's a lot going on, it seems. I mean, describe the offense a little bit. It seems like you're doing a lot. It's a lot of maybe option. Like the quarterback, do you have a lot of responsibility, a lot of freedom out there?
Yeah, well, I'm not really sure what we're doing yet this year. I might play fullback, running back, quarterback.
So
we're in between.
We're like a week or two out from the season, but you're still putting it together. Is that kind of nice though? You're kind of like, let's see what happens.
Yeah. I mean, I'm comfortable playing wherever. I mean, I pretty much know the offense in and out. We've been running this offense since 7th and 8th grade, so I'm comfortable wherever I'm playing, and it's fun to play in a triple option because it's fun to deceive the team. Like, especially at quarterback, you might give the ball and run, and they're coming after you, and your teammates running up the middle untouched basically, or the pitch, and then it's a fun offense to run.
Have there been times when you've seen a formation and you're like, oh, we got them this play, like this is going to be pretty good?
Yeah. I like in the 4, it's the midline. You could read the tackle pretty good on at quarterback, or if you're the fullback, which I was last year, you kind of know you're going to get the ball, so it's fun to read it and stuff.
So I know senior year hasn't even started yet, but tell me a little bit about yourself. What do you like away from football? Are you going to college? Are you doing something else? I mean, what's going on off the field?
Yeah, man, it's mostly lifting and we're training, and then I enjoy golfing in my free time. I took that up the last 2 years. I started golfing, and it's pretty fun.
Where's like your home course? Where do you go?
Mountain Valley. I work at Mountain Valley, so we get a nice little discount to play golf there.
What do you shoot at Mountain Valley?
I am not the best. I usually do a scramble with my friends, but I'm like a 110 guy.
Mountain Valley's tight. I'll tell you what. I've lost more balls there, and I love it. It's beautiful, but I really struggle. Steven, how about you? Are you golfing as well? Are you doing some other things away from football?
I've tried golfing with them a couple times, but I'm like really bad, so I just get frustrated and want to leave after like the 4th hole. So I don't golf as much every once in a while, but I like just spending time with friends, either that or lifting, stuff like that.
You gave it a shot, though. You gave it a shot. How about you? You looking, college, something else in the future? I mean, do you have any plans? Do you know what you want to do?
Yeah, I definitely want to go to college. I'm thinking either like physical therapy or health sciences, something like that. Hopefully playing football in college as well.
Cool. What's your best subject right now? Do you have something you're really good at?
History.
History, that was me too. How about you?
I'm a like physics math guy.
Are you really? I wish I was like that, man.
I'm looking to go into engineering, so.
Yeah, so when I said that, that's what I used to like read aerospace engineering books in college and be like, I wish I could add. That would be wonderful. What's your favorite moment of history to kind of study? What's been something really interesting?
World War II.
World War II?
Or like the Kennedy era, stuff like that.
Fascinating, man. Well, guys, I took up a lot of your time. I know you guys, this is like the indigestion bowl here today. I'm like picking people as they're done eating. Good luck this season. Thank you for sharing. Oh, here's one more question I want to ask you guys. We have both of you sitting here today, but who are some other guys you think are really going to contribute this year?
I think Louis Fry, he's another big lineman that we have. He'll definitely contribute this year. And Colm McGrody, he's going to be another fast runner that we have. He played well last year, and I think he'll be another big part of the offense this year.
What year is he in school?
He's a junior this year.
As well. Very last thing, we're here. Is this your first time at Fighters Heaven? I mean, how cool is it? It's pretty neat. Have you been here before?
No, I haven't, but it's really fascinating. I like the whole venue, everything.
How much do you know about Muhammad Ali? Anything, or is this a learning experience?
I know about him. Like, I know him being a heavyweight boxer, stuff like that, the basics, but never dug too deep into him.
As a history guy, I suggest it. Check it out. Guys, again, thank you so much for your patience today. We appreciate it. Good luck this season.
Thank you.
I think we're in for an impressive football season, Dave. I was impressed with your effort today. Dave gets my MVP. He was doing work for the Standard Speaker, doing interviews, and then you're jumping over here on the podcast. It's a crazy day, Dave, for the players in that, too. They're being grabbed by all these reporters. They're trying to eat lunch, but it's a fun day, and it's a celebration of local football, co-region football.
There's no doubt about that. And I think the most impressive thing was how much food these guys eat.
Wow.
I mean, you looked at some of their plates. But you know what? If the heat gets back to where it's been most of this summer. I'm sure that they'll run off those excess calories, but again, they're outstanding young men and they're fine representatives of their schools, and their teams have a lot to be proud of and a lot to look forward to.
Dave, that's actually going to be my good sport moment as we get to that right now, because just the interviews, I'm going to use that. The interviews with a lot of the student athletes we had today, you heard them speak, you hear what great young men they are, what great representatives they are as their team, and then you see them in there and listen, they were tightly packed in there, rivals on top of rivals, but there they are. I saw Mahanoy area chatting up with North Schuylkill. It was nice to see the camaraderie, even though, fierce competitors, but the camaraderie amongst all the players in there.
Yeah, there is a sense that, you don't see this often. And the sportsmanship level here, I'm sure on a Friday night when they're going butting heads with one another, you're not going to see the same thing. Same kids that are, sitting next to one another and exchanging pleasantries, that might not be so nice. But a lot of fine moments here today, and it's something that we look forward to every season because, the calendar, you want it to be summer forever, but it's kind of like, for me, it's always like the official turn to fall. I mean, we're still a long ways away from the official start of fall, but to me, you start getting an urge to watch some football.
Dave, going back to my good sports moment, that was my point. Was when you see these student athletes and how proud we should be that they're from our area. When we talked with head coach Wally Hall from North Schuylkill and Marian's head coach Stan DeCoste, they made a point to say that listen, we're not just trying to turn out great football players, we're trying to turn out great young men, and we see that when all the chances we get when we get to interview them.
Yeah, I agree with that too. And you're talking good sport moments. I'm going to go with Coach DeCoste. I mean, it would have been very easy for him to say, I put my time in. I'm done coaching. His school needed him. I know how much he loves the school. I mean, I've seen him shed tears for Marian Catholic. How much time, blood, sweat, and tears for him, and it's amazing to watch. And then when you see guys that have either played for him, Coach McCarroll, he mentioned at Lee Heighton, Coach Rosenberger from Jim Thorpe coached with him. Wally Hall coached with him. Coach Babinski at Mahanoy area played for him. That's a pretty good family tree to be represented here. When you talk about how many schools are represented, 15 to 20 schools represented here, and he's got his fingerprints all over those. And he still has the same enthusiasm, the same drive to build the team again. And whether you're a Marian fan or not, or you went to school there, you want to see success. You want to see them have some success this season, because it'll make it all worthwhile for him for what he did. I think it's worthwhile now, just hearing his enthusiasm. And like he said, nothing's guaranteed, but with him at the helm, I think they're on the right way.
I was going to say, yeah, and that's what it's all about, and this is what it's all about. But really what it's all about is on Friday nights in the Cole region, and Dave Seaman and the Standard Speaker staff will have you covered. Make sure you're reading in the newspaper and at standardspeaker.com, and keep a lookout for their preview magazine or preview tab, that coming out the first day of the season on August 26th.
Correct.
All right, Dave, thank you so much. It's always a pleasure, sir. We're wrapping it up from Fighters Heaven here in Schuylkill County. Also, check out, if you get a chance, come here. This is such a great place just to walk through, take in the history, learn about Muhammad Ali. Even if you have no interest in boxing, it's just you'll learn a ton. I love coming down here. Until next time, everyone, I'm Ken Kara. Take it easy and be a good sport. The Good Sports podcast and web series is brought to you by the Lehigh Valley Health Network. Thanks for joining us.